I really enjoy making things from scratch out of staples that I already have in my pantry. There is just something so satisfying about taking just raw materials that you can store year-round and making something delicious for your family. Water kefir has been really fun to make these last few months just because it's a delicious fizzy beverage that is so easy to make. Anybody can do it. You just have to get some kefir grains, and then the only things you need to make kefir water is raw sugar and water, and then you can really flavor it and make it any way you want. I've been doing tart cherry juice in a lot of ours because it's a great evening beverage to have when you're just relaxing on the couch before bedtime. You can also really make any flavor of kefir water you want. You could do ginger, you could do pear, apple. It's just a really fun way to be creative in your kitchen. Making a basic sourdough loaf is such a staple. I enjoy that I can just whip together salt, flour, water, and my starter and just make a delicious final product. I don't have to measure, I don't have to think about it. I can simply whip together dough, let it ferment as long as I want. One really nice thing about sourdough is you don't have to work on its schedule. You can have it work on your schedule. If you don't have time to deal with the dough you made, you can just pop it in the fridge, and it essentially just slows down the fermentation process so that whenever you have time to make your loaves, you simply get your dough out of the fridge and you can go ahead and form your loaves. That is what I did with this batch of bread. I had my dough fermenting overnight in a bulk rise, and then early in the morning, I just put it in my refrigerator because I didn't have time to deal with it. So that's one thing I love about sourdough is it's really easy to do once you understand how to simply speed up or slow down the process. What I was doing was I was making a pistachio cranberry loaf, and then now I'm making my simple plain loaf, just throwing it together so we can have it with soup later this evening. If any of you have any questions about making kefir water, just let me know. I would be happy to share with you the steps. It's so easy. Anyone can do it, and it's such a delicious beverage, especially in summer, for you and your whole family to enjoy. I'm now just frosting some meat from my freezer. I pulled out some ribs, some ground beef, and steak for dinner later. Oftentimes, when I'm prepping food early in the morning, I'll just go pull out several meat options from the freezer, and maybe one of them I'll use that night, and maybe a couple others I'm planning to thaw and throw in the crock pot the next day, or even marinate. I really have appreciated being able to prep dinner early in the morning, cut up the vegetables, do all the part of the dinner prep that I don't necessarily feel like doing after a long work day. All right, this is the final product. This was our cranberry pistachio loaf, and this was the simple plain sourdough loaf. Managing my sourdough starter is very easy. I literally just store it in the refrigerator all the time unless I want to make a batch of goodies. Then I will pull it out of the fridge. I'll add water to it, as you can see here, and I'll throw it in a mixing bowl, add flour, and just get it fed up. I'll normally at least double it in size when I feed it, and then I'll take out part of it, the part I want to use that day to make whatever it is I'm making, and I'll let that part sit on my counter and activate, and the rest I store in the refrigerator and just keep it cold until I want to use it again. This morning, Andrew is making himself his matcha. We really are coffee drinkers, but I will say if you haven't tried drinking green tea or matcha, I will admit that I do notice really great effects from drinking matcha versus coffee. I definitely don't consider myself a minimalist, but I also don't believe in having things in your house that aren't actively serving a purpose. I think clutter in your space is like clutter in your mind. One thing I do now that we have moved is I keep a storage area in our garage that just stays super organized so that we never have extra items in the house that we aren't actively using. So we have just sentimental things, we have extra books that we're not reading right now, we keep them here. Someday if we have a big library, it would be fun to bring all of the books into our house. We have gear for winter, we have extra board games we don't play very often, we have a giveaway/donation bin. It's just nice to have an area for all of your stuff that you would use, but maybe you use it seasonally, and it's nice to just keep it organized in one area. So this is my winter garden. As you can see, this straw is completely frozen. This is where I planted garlic. This fall, I've never planted garlic, so if you have any tips for me, let me know. I'm hoping for the best. This was a fall arugula crop that I tried to plant. It looks like it's still doing okay. I don't think it's going to grow much more, so I'll probably harvest it here soon. I didn't have the best luck with my fall crops as far as getting a huge harvest, but we definitely enjoyed these raised beds all summer long. We ended up putting these in May when we moved to this house, and we were able to honestly plant and harvest an amazing garden just from these 4 raised beds and a few pots. This pot, for example, is where I planted all my basil this year, and I had an amazing basil crop. I'm going to insert some clips from summer just so you can see what this looked like when it was in full production. And you can see here, this was the basil plant we started from seed, and it went amazing. We harvested the basil every single week, and it just kept producing all summer, and I was able to make so much pesto and freeze it just from that small container of basil. So I encourage you, even if you're living in a small space, to try to grow something this next summer. Alright, as you can see, I am just getting going on some cleaning. I don't particularly have a day where I clean the bathrooms and kind of deep clean. I just do it when I have a free day or some free time, actually. And I do like to keep our house pretty clean. I like to keep the bathrooms clean. I don't like to let grime build up, so I will say that finding me deep cleaning the bathrooms is something that I do pretty often. I find cleaning to be pretty enjoyable, relaxing. It gives you a time to just sort of think about things and also accomplish a task that gives you an amazing end result. I've often heard people say that cleaning is a waste of time because it just gets dirty again. But I disagree. I think you get a lot of useful thinking time in while you're cleaning. I think you can also listen to a book or a podcast and sort of make it more enjoyable by just getting it done and maybe learning something while you're doing it. I find when my house is a clean, organized space, I can think clearer and I can simply get more done. So I have found that keeping up on simple things like that pays off big in the end. When it comes to getting things done around the house, one thing I don't have to ever worry about is getting laundry taken care of, because Andrew does all the laundry in our house and he folds the clothes way neater than I would. If you want tips on how to get your husband to do laundry, I would definitely hit him up. This is the starter we fed this morning. As you can see, it's super bubbly and ready to be used. I am going to throw together some bagels because we are going to be going out of town in a couple days and we're going to be gone all day in the car. So I wanted to make some bagels so we could make breakfast sandwiches. And Andrew specifically requested jalapeno cheese bagels. Once I have my bagel dough ingredients thrown together, I just throw it in the stand mixer and let it mix for about 10 minutes. And then I'll simply let it do the bulk rise, and then we will make our bagels. All right, guys, time to hop in the car. You are coming to the grocery store with me today. We are going to grab a few staples we need for our trip, for lunches, as well as just things we need to have on hand.